Bolivia has set me free to see the things I could not see.
Yeah.
Feel the change inside of me to be the person that I long to be. And the things I found there will always captivate me.
That's cool.
Bolivia, your haunting beat, it comes alive in every street, a magic paradise. I find this music in each face I meet, and the things I found there will always fascinate me. In nature's scheme, with rainbows high and mountain streams, well, life is really what it seems, and no one wants to take away your dreams. The things I found there will always captivate me.
So sexy, man.
Oh, you know how to talk to a guy and then I knew that he was.
your love's to blame. It burned my senses like a flame. The world I knew now seems so tame, and now my life will never be the same. The things I found there will always captivate me. If you was a man in my life, I need you for every. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you. Once again, Mr. Jeff Goodkind, Mr. Keith Fidmont, Richie Garcia, Aron Serfati, and our special guest, Miss Candy Sosa. Thank you very much.
Yay! No, very cool. Really great. Sorry about that noise. Sometimes every now and then there's this extra shh sound. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, I'm so glad to have Kevin ONeal on the show today. Kevin ONeal. Hello.
What's happening, Cathy? It's so good to see you.
It's really good to see you too. And thank you for having that beautiful, colorful background.
Oh, colorful, just like all of the personalities and the beautiful shades that you bring during your interview series, which you have been so diligently, donating to all of us and making available, which has been even more fantastic during the pandemic. So the colors go with you, my darling.
Thank you. Wow. Well, that was cool. That really showed a lot of you to me. Your your rhythm and feel, the quality of your music, your singing, your love for the jazz melodies and harmonies and rhythms, because that song's an unusual song, especially to sing.
Well, you're so sweet. You're so sweet to have me on and to somehow confirm and acknowledge a few of these things that we are working on, and we do work on them. And it's almost kind of embarrassing being here on some kind of an interview with you, because I think so highly of you, and you've been so kind and instrumental in not only our projects but my way of thinking, and just to see you out and about. And so I always think it's not about me. It's all about all these other special things that are happening, So,
Well,
I'm glad to be here.
I think we're all part of the cloth, and each piece of string is important to the cloth, because otherwise there'd be a hole there. That's kind of a simple way of putting it, but you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, that we are absolutely a part of the tapestry, and that makes us whole. I'm text messaging my friends who are going, when is the interview? And I'm going now. So I told them no. Most definitely. And I know, me personally, I love all the fabrics and the textiles and the things that are there through the culture and the art that are there. But I become very intrigued by the things that are missing, by the things that are naturally occurring, let's say, but they seem, to maybe not be there. So then I like to go look for them.
Like what?
Well, it all depends on what you're talking about.
Okay. And that's why I said, like what? I'm not sure. What are you talking about? Life? Are you talking about music? Are you talking about, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Well, let's talk about the music, since we're so kind. Once again, I'm so humbled to be in the face of such a musicologist as yourself, and in the shadows of your great guest. But since you have me, here we go. I don't know. Maybe we're complete. Maybe we're complete and we don't need anything, and we can, live on just, memories and recycle things and things that already exist. Computers and sampling make a case for that. But I don't feel that way. I feel that we are for instance, we are in an extraordinary time. Some of the things that we have seen, in the last 2 years and such, as of this posting, the the pandemic, as they call it. We have seen a myriad of stuff that's not seen. We've seen the entire world shut down, things that we all prior to that said, nah, that'll never shut down. We saw the whole thing shut down. We're enduring having to pray for so many and seeing so many people get better and so many people who are not making it. I know that's what's happening over here. We think about the political upheaval. We've seen, demonstrations in the streets like nobody's business. We've seen the presidential change of hands, and this and that, and the storming of the Capitol. We've seen, we've seen people like Barry Harris leave us in this time, that are just really apart, and that's really marked something. So, I mean, there's a lot going on, and we've seen people, become very resilient in the middle of that have been able to hang in there and figure out what life is about. We have a show that's coming up. As of this posting, it's going to be on Tuesday, March the 8th at my favorite place to play, Catalina on Sunset. I love Catalina and their staff, and they're very kind to me and make a home for me and my music. So I don't really have a booking agent I work with regularly out here. So they asked me to bring my shows there, and boy, did we have a good time.
I'm writing it down. March 8th, huh?
Yeah, it's a new ad, and sometimes we have our shows that just come up, and this is one, and it's called Confessions from the Bubble.
Huh.
Confessions from the Bubble. So we're going to get into all these feeling a certain kind of way that we've been dealing with from my perspective for the last 2 years.
Does this also include spoken word?
It's funny you mention that, because I'm writing it at this very moment, and it could have anything in there. I'll tell you what it does have for sure. We have very special guests. I'm going to try to do some horn arranging. The whole concept behind this concert is that whatever I've been doing, I need to do something else. Like, let's just throw out the bathwater. You know what you've been, see you later. So we're going to come up with something and do a little horn writing. We've got a horn section. We've got Nolan Shahid on trumpet, Mr. Philip Wack on saxophone, a nice, excellent young cat who's been hitting the scene, and he sounds great. And the fine arranger, my dear friend, the trombonist, Mr. Dwayne Benjamin. So I'm over here trying to conjure up some horn charts. We will have a rhythm section. I'm going to be playing with the dynamite duo of Otmaro Ruiz on piano and Aron Serfati on drums. Those were all old mates.
Cool.
I don't know if they ever thought that they would be stuck with me for this long, but then they look up and I'm still standing, and I still play the bass, and they still play the drum, and then we get together and we all go, wow, we kind of had fun, didn't we? It's like, so so they're gonna come and be my rhythm section support. I have a wonderful vocalist, a lady by the name of Miss Tina Wall, who you might not know. And that's great, because I'm trying to find some things that we don't know about. Me too.
Yeah.
And Tina is a dear friend, and maybe we'll listen to her a little. She covers a lot. She's been very kind. She's a good singer. She does whatever she wants to do, but she covers a lot of my gospel music, and we are friends through some of the things we do with that. And I just kind of came from the position that she can sing anything that we want her to. And if she doesn't know about it, then she'll learn between now and March 8th. And she's fabulous. And she's just a wonderful cat, as we may get to see a little later. So
I'll be there. I'm sure Dan will be there with me at least. Maybe Nora Paradiso, who's there.
Oh, yes.
And Todd Hunter says hi.
The Hunter.
Judy Barrett loves your writing.
Oh, I love Judy Barrett. Thank you.
Joyce Glasgow is a fan, an artist and a fan from Seattle who's always here. She says,
nice. Hello. Hey.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely going to be there. Wow. That sounds absolutely great. I'm there. I am so there.
Well, I'm glad it sounds great to you. I'll be glad when it sounds great to me, because let me tell you, I'm looking at my Mingus videos for inspiration, and then I'm just writing all this new stuff I don't know nothing about.
Really?
Well, actually,
Yes.
I can maybe play you one of the songs that I think is going to get programmed in there.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's this one.
Dory Amarillo says hi.
What's up, D? This one has something to do with our ode to the frontline workers.
Okay.
An ode to be and our frontline health workers who have been taking care of us like nobody's business for the last 2 years and putting themselves in danger and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, that led me to some other things about really making it a tribute to our frontline workers and our nurses, but all of our front. And then that led me to another subject. I have a dear relative, a godmother who's on in heaven now, but she was the head of several nursing programs. And it got me to looking about the history of nurses and the history of Black nurses in particular. And wow, what an interesting history. Like you're fighting to get the training, you're fighting to get in the military. And then when they got over to some of the wars over there, they wouldn't even let them treat American soldiers. They had them treat the German soldiers. Okay. And probably a lot of them lived that got treated by the crew. But I realize right now that we have so many health workers that have any of us, become in trouble. They don't want to see us unless we're in trouble. But then when we need to be seen, they're on the front line. So I have a little something.
Okay.
And let me see if I can.
While you're saying this,
Yes.
or while you're looking,
Yeah.
I just want to say to people, I mean, you don't see my whole long relationship with Kevin and what I know of him. I've been wanting him to come on this show for a long time, and I think he's very valuable. I think he's you. I think you're I've said this to you before, but I just want everybody listening to know that Kevin is an incredible musician, tasteful, incredibly creative, just so connected to the source, and is really anytime I ever hear Kevin play or see him in his creations, it's always the same. It's always high level and connected. It's really beautiful. And you're a great bass player. And something that struck me a few times recently when I saw you was you were not loud on the electric bass. You weren't super soft. You were perfect, and which is so.
I'll try not to let it happen again. I'm sorry.
It happened several times, so it must be a decision.
Cathy, you look so stunning, and you speak of me so kindly. I'm like reaching for my phone for the PayPal app and to find you on there, and I'll give you whatever I have. It's close to it's the middle of the month, but
But I actually do want to get together and create with you again, because it's been way too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, so we have to do that. I don't know, write together or just play or whatever.
Can I play you a little short song?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what I can find. Okay, this is called "Don't Worry, My Brother." I did this with the wonderful co-writer Michael Chiliano in New York.
Okay.
And he sent me the lyrics, and we just went there. The video is like, but the song, it's going to be in the show.
Okay.
Don't worry, my brother, I can hear you calling. My body is aching, I'm cut to the bone, but I'll make my way in your hour of darkness to find you, my brother, and carry you home. This land is on fire. in the Lord above. Though I feel his wrath come down on me, don't worry. I know you're hurting inside. Don't worry. The life you give is never in vain. My brother, don't worry. They know we were here in the years when the ash of the city is all that remains. So don't worry, my brother. I can hear you calling. Reach out and touch me. You're never alone. And if we should fall by the hands of a tyrant, we'll wait. Don't worry. We'll wait. Don't worry. For however long it takes, we'll wait. How long? We'll wait for our brothers to carry me, carry you, carry us home.
Oh, that's really nice. Beautiful.
Just a little something, something.
Yeah. Was that Tina singing?
That was a beautiful young lady by the name of Miss Sarissa McQueen, who was featured on that recording. Tina will be singing it for us that night. That's one of the areas where I'm really blessed. Like, if there's something that's really happening out there, I need to hear some different voices, because someone like yourself or the lovely people that I get to sometimes work with, you have a story to tell. You have a way to approach it. Sometimes when you hear these recordings, you hear, somebody will kind of make it their own, but it's like, no, I need you. So, yeah, no, you're right. We got to figure out some things to do together, Miss Cathy.
Speaking of unusual singers, you had for a long time, I don't know if you still work with Patrice Quinn, but she
Who? Who?
So, when I
No,
met
I want to hear you say that name again.
Patrice Quinn.
Say it one more time.
Patrice Quinn.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's say if I got an interview going, let's say her name as many times as we can. That's my working partner. That's right, Miss Patrice Quinn. I'm so proud of her. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I first met her at the jam session, about 18 years ago or something. And she was so unusual and beautiful, and just so musical. And then as the years went on, saw her more and more. And then your musical relationship with her was really out front and wonderful. And so that's like a singer who you found, I don't know how you guys met, but you definitely attracted a different singer there,
Well, I'm glad she's a really hardworking cat. I guess I met Patrice as she, much like yourself, was very kind to come do some time in our Radiant Voices group, and our jazz and praise vocal group that we have going for so long. And we got to know each other there. I kind of matured into her having a really good voice for solo things, and so we began to work on things. I met a lot of people when Billy was here, when Billy Higgins was here. He was such a dear friend to all of us and to so many. I guess if I had if I had a quarter for everyone that told me that Billy Higgins was one of their best friends and one of their great influences, you'd have to call some of your friends and tell them I was moving in, So, maybe some of the Lakers, for the Clippers for sure. and I'd be moving in their neighborhood, man. I mean, it would be it would be a good contract even before the deadline. You see what I'm saying? And with Billy, I helped to run the vocal workshop for many years and participate with that. Phyllis Battle was doing it
Oh
when
yeah.
I got it, and um, Cynthia Otterbach.
Right, right. Oh
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And Cynthia Otterbach, of course, spends a lot of time out of town, out of the country, as she's made
Yeah,
her gigs
yeah.
there. But when she was here, and then her and Phyllis were doing, and I think Phyllis was in the fifth dimension at that time.
Uh-huh.
So she was working, but had time to help with the vocal workshop. And I think from that situation, I met Todd Hunter, and then
Oh,
as Phyllis retired, I kept doing and got a couple other people. I still laugh about I used to beg Deanie Clark to come cover me on some of these vocal workshops. Like, Deanie, I've been doing it a long time. I need some help. It's a lot to take on, just me and all these folks. And he didn't want to have anything to do with me or any idea that I had or something like that. And then I kind of quit coming, and Danny Ironstone came for a while, and then Deanie, and then once he got there, he got hooked. And kind of the same thing happened with Howlett Smith on the back end of that. So I know they covered that. So I think I met Patrice back then, back when Billy was here.
yeah, yeah. You're bringing up all the great names: Deanie Clark and Danny Ironstone. He's a really good writer too. Um,
Yeah, I haven't seen Danny in a while. Hey,
yeah.
Danny.
um, yeah, and you kind of touched on Radiant Voices, which I was lucky enough to sing with for a minute, and Billy Red was singing, and Wanda. I can't remember. There must have been another singer in when I was there, but so this amazing group that Kevin put together is kind of a jazz gospel group with his writing, and it's really unusual. It's unusual to me. I haven't never heard anything like it because the blend of jazz and gospel is, very front and center. Really great. Are you still doing that? Are you still active with that?
No, I'm not. We retired several seasons ago. I mean, just because it was a bit much for me to keep going.
Yeah, it's a
I have
lot.
a habit of doing it for a while, and then I get to doing some other things. But you never know. We did some recordings. We did a few this, a few that. A lot of the things that I've been nice enough to do, I'm nice enough to be involved with. I really have tried to chronicle them at a high level. I mean, I love your solo records, and I really respect so many independent artists who have been cranking it, doing it any way they can for a long time. The subject of the music industry, as far as dealing with it every day, it's what you would call high maintenance. And I'm lucky I have such a productive life and good things around me. I was always worried I didn't have the time to put in the hustle, and it's still, it's competitive any way you look at it. So, and it's just been fascinating how the industry has changed, between the time that we started doing something and now. And I mean, once again, to date of this writing, for instance, there's a big brouhaha going over on Spotify. And a few years back, we had, what was Spotify? I mean, but now and it's not the only game or the only server in town, but it is big news in every way. And now that it's been here for a while and it's maturing, like situations will, and the relationships between all concerned, there's some things there that make you go, hey, wait a minute. And some people who have been dealing with the record companies saying, hey, wait a minute, for a long time, like Neil Young, are going, hey, wait a minute. And he's not the only one, but him to start with.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Do you, oh, Michael Dioc says, hey, Clarence. I guess that's a joke with you guys.
Or maybe he thinks I'm someone else. People sometimes,
Really?
well, I mean,
Your name's all over this, so
Well, no. People have oftentimes maybe can confuse me for Michael Jordan, because Kobe Bryant and I let him share my birthday for a while. God bless you, Kobe and Gigi and all that. But now you can get back to celebrating my birthday on August 23rd. That's fine. I mean, if you miss anything about send it to me. That's fine. You know.
I thought Clarence might have been a pet name for you or something.
Oh, Clarence! He probably thinks I'm Clarence, the bass player. You know, it's like, oh, it's the bass player guy. It's B for bass. We're all the same. John B. Clarence or
All right.
John B. Clarence.
We'll pass that. But what I was going to say was, yeah, the industry thing. I mean, it's the industry. To me, it reflects. And I don't mean this in a super negative way, because you know me, I'm not really a negative person. But
You are so lovely.
kind of,
Thank you.
it kind of reflects how I look at existence on this planet. There's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot of underpinnings that are extremely funky, and it's the future is questionable. We don't know what's going to happen, just like we saw in the last 2 years. I mean, it's exponentially changing, and who knows? Who knows? But I think of the industry in the same way. I like it for certain things, but there's really nasty underpinnings, and like Spotify, for instance, it kind of reminds me of Napster, except they figured out how to make money, right?
I'll never forget. I mean, something to live through times and to look back at it with hindsight is when they were suing, the record companies were suing all of those parents because their kids got on their computers and were sharing files. I mean, I don't know how that ever turned out, but I know they took a beating, these parents, because their kids were just learning to share files. And now look at us.
I remember
Okay.
that not all that long ago.
Well, and it's funny because, they were still use, as they will do, they'll use the artists as the poster children for, look, you're taking money out of their pockets when you don't pay them properly, was the argument. But then, people that are in the business know that there's always tension, not always, but, that the artists, oftentimes there is tension and have to make their corporations which work with them accountable. And there's all kinds of things that go with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of it. So in other words, you're telling me you're taking money out the artist's pockets, but who's taking money out the artist's pockets? How'd that work again? I mean, it's a question like that, you see.
Yeah, and then they have this Spotify where you, as an artist, you make 0.0003 cents per play. I want to know who's getting the other part of that penny. It's not me. Why isn't it me? And the fame, the big, you get on a big list and then you can make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's mysterious,
Well, what's beautiful about it is that it's new. It's a new conversation. The fact that, a lot of people have always been under the artist types, under the impression that if people just hear me, they'll love me. Now they can put stuff on platforms and people can hear you and they can love you. But now what that has to do with
money,
some of the other things that go with it, it's a new situation and you still have to figure it out.
Yeah. That's kind of the positive for me. It's like we don't know what lies just beyond, just beyond here, right here. There's
well. I was talking to one of my friends, Deborah Holland. She was saying her dad said something, and I'm kind of going with that. He says, I'll tell you what, I'm not, whatever goes down, I'm not going to commit suicide because I want to see how the whole thing turns out. I thought about that. I said, that's how you have some fun with it. So whatever the heck is going to happen around here, let's figure it out because we're going to see.
That's so true. That's good. I like that.
Like that. Hey, you have me thinking. So, I mean, all this to say that some of the things that you're kind enough to let me share with you today are not available on public. They're not available on YouTube. They're not available on Spotify. They're not, it's not that we didn't record them or didn't shoot them or didn't do something with them. It just worked out though. I'm working on a way to make the catalogs available if anyone feels like there's going to be interested. Sometimes I hear so much music out there and so many people, I go, well, what do you need me for? And, what do you need me for? I go, but I realize it's something a little deeper than that. It's something a little better than that. And I'm thankful to be able to have a contribution. So let me see what I can find to share for you. That's not on YouTube. That's not on someplace else. Okay, just a second. I gotta go do it. I had some of these things all lined up for us, and it didn't. Anything. Computers have a way that when I have something I know that I really want them to do, when I really need them to do it. See how come? Why are you laughing before I get to finish it? They know to do the opposite or to slow down right there. Something every time. Okay, I'm almost there. And I see something here. And you were kind enough to mention Radiant Voices, so we'll go back.
Ooh, okay.
And we'll see if we have something on file from them.
A friend from Japan is here. He comes usually.
Oh, cool. What part of Japan?
Hiroki. Where do you live? I actually don't know. Tell me where you live. I'm guessing Osaka.
In Osaka?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. He'll answer me in a second. There's a little bit of a delay.
Okay, here I come. That's fine. Well, I know one thing: jazz and all the wonderful things that we know and love about it would not be if it wasn't for Japan and our Japanese family. It just wouldn't exist.
Yeah, I love Japan.
And they've been such supporters of the music. Okay, here's one. That's not the one we want. I want a different one for you. Because that one is on YouTube. I'm trying to find you. I'm trying to be your black market man. I'm trying to find you contraband that you can't get anywhere else, you see. And I think I found it.
Okay.
And what I'm going to play for you is an original composition with a little Afro-Latin inspiration. I like that music. I mean, it just comes up when it comes up because that's who I think I kind of am some days. And we're going to play something dedicated to my favorite composer, Charles Mingus, featuring Todd Hunter on piano, Raymond Pounds on drums, Jacques Lejour on guitar, Frontline, Mashariki Raymond, Wanda Elaine, Toney Seabrook, Patrice Quinn, Billy Red Thetford.
Some people whisper, but we don't. Charles Mingus, he's our man. Fingers, forever we move because he swings us. Remember, Charles Mingus, the neighborhood knows something good, yeah, Mingus. If you're ever strolling through Times Square, you'll find him there. Charles Mingus.
Yay! I love that song.
Hey now.
Charles Mingus is our man.
Okay, wait. Now I'm gonna turn this down. And
You know what? Clarence Robinson is here. Maybe that's who Michael was saying hi to.
Oh, see, I'm telling you, all us bass players. What's up, brother Clarence? That's my brother. That's my brother. That's my brother on the bass. I ain't mad at you. You know, it's interesting. Henry Franklin and I
Yeah.
have my dear friend and mentor, my buddy Henry Franklin. We've appeared on some albums together. Like, you know, we split the bass duties. Like he was on half and I was on half. So sometimes when the DJs have been kind enough to play it on the radio, they get us mixed up and they say, oh, you know, that was, you know, Kevin O'Neill on bass, but it was really Henry Franklin. And I was like, hey man, you can mix me up with Henry Franklin anytime. I'm like, I'm cool with it.
Not so bad.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, that's cool. I'm trying to find something with Patrice Quinn, and I have all kind of stuff, and I'm gonna find her doing the blues. You know, she does so much. You know, Patrice can handle a lot of music. I know because I made sure to teach her some of it, and she bad. She can handle a lot.
Hey,
Yeah.
just tell us a little bit about, you've told me this before, but it's been a long time. The Busboys. You and your brother were in the Busboys, right?
Wait a minute. Let's come back to that.
Oh,
And let's come over here. I'm trying to put this on pause.
by the way, Hiroki is in Hokkaido.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, that's so pretty there, isn't it?
Hiroki. Is Hiroki a musician?
Hi, Hiroki. Let's see. I think he is. I think he's. Oh, God, you know, sorry, Hiroki, I forget. Are you-
Well, because Hakodate. Oh, I love you, Hiroki. Hakodate is my favorite place in Japan just to be. Like if I could be someplace and just be there and be okay,
Yeah.
Hakodate is my spot. It kind of got me.
It's really beautiful up there.
So I got a song. This is with Patrice, another original composition. You know, dedicated to some of the you know what this is dedicated to. Check it out.
Money driver, you work me all day long. Money driver, you work me all night long. I'm forever paying dues. One day I'll have my own.
Somebody's gonna feel me out there today.
Money driver, I think that you don't care. Money driver, I think that you don't care. Your mind is always on your money. Every time, anywhere.
Tell them what the problem is, Bruce Foreman. Tell them. You know how they are. Yeah, they do. Every time they try it, don't they?
to keep what's mine.
That's right.
You're just a money driver, always overseeing. You're a money driver, ain't happy till we almost bleed. Doggone money driver, can't you be a little kind? Money driver, money. It's the first thing and the last thing on your mind.
That's cool.
Right, and we can dedicate that song to the king, or maybe he's the queen of exploitation.
That's your song, right?
I don't know if anything belongs to me. What can I take with me?
Did you say that? That's your
What
song.
what I will say is this: is that when you're dealing with Kevin O'Neill, the real deal, Spotify nor none of them other things is gonna cut you off for a lack of originality, because we come original, and I've been owning myself for a long time. So I'm very thankful. Yes, that is one of my original
I like that
compositions
song.
and my
I would
original
like that in my
production
repertoire.
and some stuff like that.
I-
Oh, you
I would
know,
like that in my repertoire.
you're so you sing anything beautifully. You have such a big repertoire, Cathy. Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? And I meant every word of it, every syllable, every consonant, every vowel. You do have a big repertoire, Cathy Segal-Garcia.
Well, I do. You know what? What's really funny? There's this little Zoom thing happening tomorrow, and it's a dedication to Marilyn Bergman. So
yes.
there's several singers
Oh
on.
yes, thank you, Marilyn. Wait a minute, let me just calm on down and say thank you, Marilyn. You're such a sweetie, such a wife, and such a bad cat. Just love you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, there's a lot of songs that I have sung over the years of Marilyn Bergman. I mean, some are very surprising. You're like, what? Like Nice and Easy. Who would have thought that Marilyn Bergman wrote Nice
Yeah.
and Easy? You know, we thought, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went looking, and I had absolutely no recordings of any kind of any of those songs. But there's like about 5 other singers on who all have recordings. So I'm just going to have to go, that sounds great, because all of them are great singers. But I was thinking about it too, and when we were coming up, and those songs were super popular, you know, what are you doing the rest of your life? And, you know, that genre of songs, there were a lot of female singers who had this very warm alto sound singing them, you know. And every now and then you get somebody else like he wanted some links of various singers singing these songs. I could barely stay away from Streisand because she sang each song absolutely gorgeusly, you know. But of course there was Carmen, there was Jack Jones, you know, Sarah, a lot of, you know, I mean, those songs were, they were the best lyricists in the world.
We've all been making a living off of Marilyn and Alan Bergman and, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire on the other side of the tracks for our whole career. If you took them out of our repertoire, we would have to downsize wherever we're living. We would have to get the smaller bass amp, the cheaper microphone, because they made so much that when we're able to grab it and use it and share it with people and stuff, it's priceless. And it does show up on paper. You know.
It changes the world.
That's one of the things I like, about our field is that it has a license to do some things that computers don't do that well yet. So they're still depending on us. One of those areas is the ballad. Okay, it hasn't really, as we know it, to take your time and listen to that, it hasn't really permeated rap music and stuff like that yet. Computers don't know how to have that level of simpatico and sensitivity there. And a lot of people's ears aren't there, but within there, I think there are wells and loopholes to what we think we understand that just take a little time. And sometimes the hardest time to take is in between breaths. You see. Yeah, and you gotta go to your psychologist and your psychiatrist and all those people so they can listen to you, tell you that they feel what you're feeling, and then tell you to breathe more slowly and listen in between your breaths. And so I think, in my life, someone like Shirley Horn, who was very kind to me, and she would play a song or hit a chord that was so beautiful and then sing, and I would just find all things there, and then I wouldn't remember what the next note of the song was. Like, what song are we in? Oh wow, and it's like, where am I and what's the next? So it can be very inebriating that way. Can I play you a small little ballad that I have an example?
Sure.
Like I say, I'm trying to get into the stuff that, since you're kind enough to have me, I'm trying to introduce and share with you today some of the things that maybe I'm proud of, but you cannot go to YouTube and find. You cannot go to Spotify.
Bill Marcus says hello.
Bill Marcus?
Yep.
See, people confuse me and Bill Marcus for each other all the time. What's up, my brother Bill? My brother on the bass. Bill Marcus, your spirit, man, you are so incredible. You bring something to everything you do. And I know, because if I was sitting there, maybe I would have think to bring something else, but I say, no, look what Bill brought. So in the spirit of BYO, brother, I sure do appreciate you, my man on the bass out there holding it up and holding all those artists together. Thank you. That's Bill Marcus. I gotta talk about my brothers on the bass now. Okay, I'm almost got you. Let me see.
Is your brother still playing?
Wait a minute. Humming, one step at a time. I am not good at multitasking.
Oh, Roland found another beautiful song with Patrice Quinn. Thanks, Roland. And so did Dan. Dan found, he said, a live performance by your guest with a lot of familiar people in the band. Maybe it was.
Well, that's because we live in a big industry town where we all know everybody. And sometimes we think we know everything because we know everybody, but it's tricky.
That's me. I think that.
Yeah, I know. But see, you have, Cathy, you're super bad. I don't know what to say about you. I'm trying to find a nice ballad. Just give me, okay, here we are. And keep in mind, y'all, when you're looking at this, you really are looking at Patrice Quinn, but you really are looking at me. See, you just don't recognize me without my wig.
Okay, by the way, sorry to interrupt your flow. Rick McLean, hey Kevin, just arriving at this party late. Still remember fondly our days in Den Haag with Dr. Harris. Cheers.
Rick, what's happening, man? We just lost Barry. And those pictures you sent me? Oh man, we got to get our friends of Barry Harris, all the people who he's touched. We have to get some kind of an online something where we can stay in contact. And Barry came out here many seasons and performed and made sure to teach while he was here and work with the pianist and work with the vocalist and work with on whatever, you know, he knew to do, very high level. I remember the first time he came out, I had a bunch of young pianists that I said, listen, you need to come out and you need to meet me here. And, you know, cats are busy and stuff like that, and I don't bug them that much, but they took me up on it and they came here. And I remember it was early, about 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and it was Marta Ruiz, Tamir Hendelman, Danny Grissett, Marcus Johnson, Teddy Edwards had come early just to hang out. But those were some of the people that came and was over Barry's shoulder when he came and visited and stuff. And look at all that they have done and will continue to do. So, you know, I'm
Beautiful legacy.
yeah, Rick. So we got to figure that out. Okay, let me see what I can find for you.
And Cheryl Barnes is here. She says, sends her love.
Now we're getting ready to talk about Cheryl in a minute. We're gonna come back to Cheryl, okay? We put a pin. Hi, Cheryl. Put a pin on her name. Here's a thought that a song that I composed,
Okay.
and all these cats were nice enough to bring it to life. I hope you enjoy it.
Give me sunshine, sunsets, raindrops and dew, pine cones, blue jays, a daydream of you. Give me colors, rainbows, butterflies, clouds of white, moon glow, satin, to keep me through the night. Give and take all of me, if it's what your heart desires. I'll just while away the hours by the sea, loving sunshine, sunsets, and please save a thought for me. Give me tall trees, fireflies, a cool whistling breeze. I'll take what heaven gives me, I'll only keep just what I need. Give me soft moods, a picture show, time with my friends. Give me mellow hummingbirds, a dream that never ends. I'll find a place my heart calls home. I don't mind being alone. All I'm asking in return is for satin and sunshine, sunsets, pine cones, moon glow, a cool whistling breeze, and please save a thought for me.
Wow, Kevin. That is a truly gorgeous song.
Well, thank you for listening. I think everybody on there, I'm so proud of them.
You know, I think you're playing songs that you think I'll be interested in because I want that song.
You're so funny.
That's what I think you're actually doing. You're thinking, what would Cathy sing? Okay, let's play this one.
You're so sweet. Like I say, these are all the things I don't release them. They're not available publicly. You know, I'm doing things obviously to capture them and do different things in different ways, but we didn't hop on the exploitation train. And Cathy, you already own a part of me, so anything that you think that I have, maybe something that you want
I
better.
really would. I would really
You
like.
already you already have a part of me.
Well, I
And
know
then
that.
and then I come with the package. You never know. And my friend Cheryl is out there. I was so glad we got
And
reconnected. And Phil, that was over. We were all
and
together.
sorry, I have to interrupt because
Yeah.
Cheryl says she wants it too.
Oh, listen to you guys. Oh, wait a minute. I feel a versus battle coming on right now. I do.
Beverly Mosley says she loves it.
I feel a big versus. We could have a whole series. I love it. I
That is
love it.
That's a very unusual and beautiful song, Kevin. Really gorgeous.
Oh, you're very sweet. Well, I'm very thankful that everyone there, and Patrice most especially, and the many of the professionals that don't show up on the screen that are my directors and different things like that, that they are so kind and sympathetic and helpful, and I appreciate them giving some of their lives to make it so I can share it with you. So if it does anything good, that's all right.
Well, I really that's beautiful. And actually, I have noticed the quality of the movies as well. Very, very nice work. I don't know who does your videos, but really, that part is very beautiful too.
Well, that's my buddy. We be getting into some stuff,
Okay.
so I gotta, I'm so proud of her. She's been out there touring with Kamasi and stuff. I don't know if you saw them. They were on TV the other night.
No.
Last week they were on Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show,
Oh,
and they
cool.
were great. And I think they wrote a song for the show that they debuted, and I was just glad Patrice is out there. It's funny in that band, which she is very much a part of. Really a soldier, uh, because it's the saxophone players band, and it's a big collective, and they got all these horns going. It's not the optimal place for a singer to be, as far as the art of being a flat-footed singer and doing your own show. She's part of a great collective of many people who are contributing. So it was very nice for the time that we were working closely to be able to say, hey, no, you're the lead instrument here.
Yeah.
We're going to develop that. And she's such an excellent study, and she was, pretty much fearless with taking everything on. So I appreciate her and everyone. And what's really great too is that we have incredible relations now. Okay. Like I said, I talked to her before. I haven't talked to her since she's been back from New York, from going to fly to do the show, because she's from there, so she might stay and visit with family a little bit or something, that kind of thing. But everything doesn't come from one place, so we have to keep working. Like I love going over to Cheryl and Phil's and working. Hi, Phil, and working on some of their music and stuff, because they're coming from someplace, and that's very important. This stuff is very individualistic. We get to program the computers, but we're all coming from, and it's more valuable than we think.
I agree. Actually, I'm just thinking. I don't know. I don't know if I ever created a band playing my music with you. I'd really love to see what you do with my music. You know, that's very just. I just never. I mean, there's so much to think about. Sometimes, sometimes those thoughts go, zhoop, But again, Kevin, I'm going to be calling you.
Well, you can call me anytime. I'm looking forward to seeing you. You have been, even I tell you, since pandemic, more recently, I have to let you know that you've come out and you come and visited some of the shows and
Yeah.
stuff. You are just the highlight. You are just there's something
Because I
about
laugh
it.
at your jokes.
When, well, and something about when I see you, I just know that something's going on. You kind of have a spirit like Nika, like like the Baroness. The cats would say, and Barry would say, when Nika would pull up in her Bentley and pull up to the front of the club, everybody in New York knew it was something going on up in there. And see, you kind of had that that expertise of what you do about you. That when you show up and you hang in a certain kind of way, and you're in the room where it happens, there's something going on. And sometimes it's so good you don't know what it is, till the next day. See, Cathy leaves that next day loving on you, where she done put so much love in the room, and you don't realize how good a time you had till the next day, and then it stays with you, So, because when she's there, she's just kind of, just kind of doing her little thing. But that's how you are.
One great show that we saw was with Robert Turner. That was a really beautiful show at Catalina's.
That crazy guy.
That
I'm so proud of Robert.
I interviewed Henry Franklin about 2 weeks ago.
Huh?
Of course, they have the three more sounds together.
Yes.
Yeah, so we talked about Robert and we played a little bit. But yeah, Robert, he's he's a pretty amazing pianist. And then you were the musical director, right, for that show?
Robert he's gotten a good reputation because most of my shows that we have done have been at Catalina. That's my home space, and I love them.
Yeah.
And for the last probably about 3 years, I've been featuring Robert on a lot of those shows, and he got a good name. And the man, he says, "Well, you want to try to bring something in?" And he kind of said, "Okay."
That was a great show. I
I was
loved
like,
it.
"Well, he's my guy. I think I've known Robert since he was about 15." So I says, "Okay, we're gonna support him." And so he did whatever he did. That's what he do.
I remember he came here a few times to my house and played like in parties or something or
Right.
workshops. I remember he would play, huge grin on his face, and he'd be playing and he'd turn around and look at the audience like, "Shit, isn't this fun?"
He brings joy to everything. He's my little genius. Let me get this right. He's my little genius. And it's a bunch of these young people that are little geniuses. They look at things differently.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to look at it differently too. I mean, let me give you an example. One of my piano player buddies, a young fellow from Gardena, part of my Gardena Mohegan Love project, and we'll talk about that. Mr. Anthony Graham, he put something up on Facebook or something, and he says, Usher, the show, he went to see Usher in Las Vegas. And he says, this Usher show, I think it's the best song, the best show out there, the best show I've seen. And me being an old head, OG head, I go, "Oh, well, you just ain't seen that much because there's more thing to say, did you ever see the Mothership Land and this and that?" And he was like, "Okay." He's so respectful, but he was like, "Oh, but he clapped back and he says, 'Look, OG, you might be right, but I didn't see Janet in her prime and Michael in their prime. And I didn't see the Mothership Land. I was way too young for any of that."
Yeah.
Okay, but what I can go and see now, the Usher show I think is the best show. And so when I talk my talk, but when my young people say that, I'm like, "Oh, let me go check that out." So then I went I wanted to go to Las Vegas before it closed. I couldn't quite pull that off. It wasn't a good time to go. But, somebody put just a song or something that they took on their iPhone from the thing, just not much, not the whole show.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw that show, I saw some things I had never seen before. One of the things I saw is Usher was on skates. And because I thought they were on a moving stage. Like I went to see Hamilton a few times and they have a circular moving stage. I looked And it was him plus two other people, like skate dancers, a guy and a girl. And he was doing his whole, and he already can dance as good as anybody out there. Usher's a veteran. He'd been in the business a long time. And he was really singing. I ain't never seen nobody do all that skating and hand jive in front of a whole big giant show on skates. With all of his personality and stuff and so well done. What a great, the number I saw, how well put together. So I had to come back and say, you're right, I ain't seen nothing like that. And then the people who were supposed to come in after them, Adele, God bless her, that it was just too difficult and she had to cancel. And just think about how many people, it wasn't easy on anybody, but how many people were disappointed and how many people were making a living off of it, that all of us, were planning on it and planning around it, and all of a sudden it had to crash.
Yeah.
And I said, and that made me realize, with respect to Adele and all of her people, that it ain't easy. So if you got Usher, and he'd been in the business all this time, and he's a veteran, and he just had an incredible run at Las Vegas, and seen, I had to say, well, he must be putting on one of the best shows ever in the world right now.
Yeah.
I didn't go, but that's what so I try to give these young geniuses, some quarter on what they're gonna work on.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's go there.
Now,
Let's
hold
go.
on one second.
What you got?
I just want to say Matthew Jacovides loves the work you did with Chris Hanlon. Your heart shows in your playing.
Oh, that's my buddy Chris. He texted me earlier today. What's up? That's my crew.
And then Dan Davila has posted, I don't know what this is, but you and your brother on YouTube. I'm not sure I don't know what that is, but anyway, I want to actually talk about you and your brother in some form or another, and I wanted you to tell us about the Busboys, because that was part of your history.
Oh, you're so sweet. I don't talk about that stuff too much. You probably noticed.
Just
mainly,
touch on it.
well, mainly because I'm lucky to have all of these things going on,
Yeah,
and
you're moving ahead.
I have to.
Yeah. But I mean, it's part of your history, and it's a lot of people knew the Busboys.
And I want to thank everyone for their support of our group and the support of our family. I really do appreciate that. Okay, I'll give you my side of the story, because I have a side of the story and I'm sticking to it. I learned. Okay, let me go back. I grew up out here in the South Bay area, in the Carson, Compton, Gardena area, right where they kind of all meet. And, there were different people who, as they became accomplished, got their bands happening, and maybe they got a record deal that were from around our areas, very productive. Janice and Hazel from A Taste of Honey, they used, Hazel and her little brother used to always be over at the garage. We rehearsed at our garage with my beautiful parents, my beautiful father, my beautiful mother. They says, no, you're going to rehearse here. They made it a point. And so, cats would come and gather. All right, so like Taste of Honey was the group right before us that was from the neighborhood that got a record deal.
Uh-huh.
And we're so proud of them with their boogie oogie oogies and all that stuff. So I know when different people hear that play, maybe that means the disco era and fun. No, that's my home girls. That's my home people. That's my neighborhood up there representing and stuff. And we were at a very interesting time. We were at a interesting time in music and culture. You have to understand, this is all pre-rap and pre-hip hop as being definitive and introduced into Black music. And we don't even, I know nobody really wants to talk about how influential Black music is, but that's whatever you want to call Black music, and whose music is it anyway, but I'm just saying. So, because I played on some of Dr. Dre's first records before he got hooked up with Eazy-E, when I'm with Alonzo, my Gardena brother, my Mohegan brother, Alonzo Williams, and the World Class Wrecking Crew, and all that kind of stuff. When I played on a few of those different types of rap sessions, later on. And when I saw the direction it was going in, because it was all kind of like pre-death row records and all that, but it was going, and when I saw that it was going into that direction, it wasn't quite right for me. The joy that I've always have, and is my standard, is that I would play my things and, bring them home and play them for my mother. And my mom wasn't prudish or anything like that. She had high standards, but, sometimes you would go and you would do the tracks, and then you would bring it home, and it would be about, oh, say what? Because, it was going in the direction more so of gangster rap and all those types of things you see. Yeah. And I was like, well, maybe I better step back from this one. And I like to write lyrics and stuff, so I got into that. So our band that we had going, we had 2 groups. I have one older sibling. He's 5 years older. We had 2 groups. I had a group that was more my age, when he had a group that was more his age. Because when I'm in the 7th grade, you figure he's in the 12th grade, So when I'm in the 8th grade, that's the year that would be his first year in college. When I'm in the 8th grade and he's in college, you see. So that's, back then, we're all the same age now. Yeah, but back then, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from listening to the interviews with Chris Jasper from the Isley Brothers. Mm-hmm. Because when I listened to them, I realized that they had 2 separate bands. They had the older brothers, Ron and the Caster with the vocalist, and they were and then they had a whole younger crew with Chris and Ernie and the brother that played the bass, and they were much younger. The older guys were already in the record industry doing different things, and the younger guys were young, coming up on their instruments. And then at a certain point, after being able to observe what was going on, they says, well, we need to learn to be self-contained. So, when you're in the industry and you're a singing group, you got to work with these different, writers and musicians and this and that. And they says, no, we're going to learn to cover that stuff. So anything that's there. Well, I was the same way with my group, that when I, kind of really connected with my older brother's group, I left my young guys that were my age, Cornelius Mims and Kipper and all these different people who are just so fabulous and active now. I kind of said no. I put them and some of the other people that I was working with my age, Thomas Oregon and Derek Oregon and some of those, I put them all together because I say I'm going to retire from you guys because I'm going to go be with my brother's group full time. And then as I was with them full time, we started doing a lot of work. We did a lot of the major TV shows and this and that and the touring. We were a rock and roll band. Okay, I don't know too many of the people that I've been hearing about that know too much about being in a rock and roll band. We may like rock and roll. Like I might like country and western, but I ain't hanging out, with the cats every day on a 7-day a week, doing that thing. No, I am not. Okay. And specifically in the record industry, it is a segregated industry. It always has been. So there's a race records division, whatever that race records was, R&B, jazz, whatever they covered. And there were the mainstream divisions that could have been pop or something, and there were the rock divisions. Our group did our first, I think we got our record deal in 1980. I had to wait till I was 18 years old to sign the record contract because I had already been gigging 6 nights a week starting about when I was 15, something like that. And we were signed to Arista Records. Thank you, Clive Davis and that whole crew. Got a couple albums out over there. We did a few movies. We did all Eddie Murphy's first movies and stuff like that. And, I was the guy behind the scenes trying to help get things done because it's also a lifestyle and not just one that you check into like a hotel, one that you have to be at. You got to be in like I say in Hamilton, you got to be in the room where it happens. And when you're talking about in the early 80s in a closed room where it happens, don't even let me start to talk. Okay. So, and so I did a lot of ghostwriting for the band too. I got credited for a few things and there was a whole lot of stuff that I didn't get credited for. I was lucky because in the middle of all that, I was the youngest guy out of that group, much, 5, 6, 7 years younger than some of the guys. And, I didn't have any bad habits, I got, sex, drugs, and rock and roll ain't just a song, baby. If you know how to really roll, you see. And, but I was lucky I didn't have a lot of issues with a lot of those things. So sometimes I was the odd man out. Because, I'd be the only one in a whole organization that wasn't there. So it was but it was really good to do it. People don't know how rare that is because if I ask them, I say, I ask you, since Jimi Hendrix, name me 4 black rock groups.
I know, absolutely, rock and country.
Well, forget the country for a minute. I'm not going to talk about the country for a minute. I'm going to come back to them because I'll go DeFord Bailey on you and some stuff. And I have played at the Grand Ole Opry, and we could talk about. But that's another thing. See, they come. I'm saying the whole rock and roll industry. Country were based out of Nashville and some other places. The whole rock and roll industry. Name me four black rock groups. I mean, if you go into other rock, groups, how many groups have come and gone? One of the things
but that was that wrong?
That's part of Hendrix. Post Hendrix.
Okay, post Hendrix. Yeah.
I mean, there are some, and I would just embarrass myself by not giving my credit to the people who deserve it. I mean, they got deals and were able to keep it going. Living Color is obviously coming out of New York, but that's like the difference between, the Lakers and the Knicks, just to say that it's a whole different posse, right? But they're excellent. Vernon and Living Color and Dougie and all those guys. Yes, hey cats. And then some groups that should have gotten more play, like the Bad Brains and Jimmy Hazel's group and a bunch of different stuff. The Black Rock Coalition, which I was involved with for many years, so many times. But no,
you're right. Especially after Jimi Hendrix. I mean, there was. Because the earlier wasn't, to me, really rock. It wasn't like,
But right. So it's no. So what I'm telling you is that you start. Okay, if you want to go with Fishbone, and they're really alternative. They're not. So how many black rock? There ain't been any. There's been 1 or 2, and none of them had record deals. So you don't know how rare it was.
Yeah, and Prince, I don't consider Prince rock.
And now it's something else. No, he's not rock. Sly and the Family Stone is not rock. Earth, Wind and Fire is not rock. No, they were incredible and beyond category. Don't get me wrong, but I prefaced this by saying the industries and the companies are segregated.
Yeah. Okay.
So where was their deal?
Right.
So I mean, the groups that were getting signed at the same time as us was Motley Crue, Go-Go's, the Knack was a little before us, as was Oingo Boingo. Somewhere up in that, we helped get Fishbone their record deal.
I wonder what their thinking was. That is so weird when you stop to think about it. It's like, didn't they want to make money, or they?
Now, see, we could get into. I would love to be able to talk to you, Cathy, and tell you all the things that you want to know, but it's difficult to talk about. But this is what I will tell you.
Yeah.
We're lucky. The people that are on here are highly perceptive. Why? So many reasons, but one of them has to do with functional music. When I talk to some of my young people who are kind enough to come check me out when I do a little of this type of thing, talking about jazz and American culture. The first thing we go over is exploitation. And the next thing, the very first thing, before we crack any song, okay, and then we try to learn what is functional music. Now, a lot of people feel this, but as a technical definition, because in this electronic age of AI, we have to kind of define things. Functional music is music that serves a social purpose outside of itself. I'll say that once more. Music that serves a social purpose. Yes, it serves a social purpose, but outside of itself. Something different than what you see. See, so you're looking at two things or more at the same time. So if you want to start a debate like you on the debate team or on First Take about which is which, it'll go on endlessly, you see, because it's not one thing. Okay, I'll give you a little example. Negro spirituals. Perfect example of functional music. On one hand, we're up there singing to Jesus in all these slave-holding situations and whatnot, and how it's going to be better on the other side because it sure is hell where we are. But the other side of that is we talking about the Underground Railroad, and there might be a chance, and it's coming through, and it's real. See, now the joy about it is that you're not supposed to, everybody isn't supposed to understand both the meanings. See, and it's only when our ego gets in the way or something is shallow in the first place that we think we get the whole thing. I mean, I love talking with it in this crowd of folks. When I say this crowd of folks that are involved with this incredible, art form, because I can tell you with a straight face, you can see a chord, but that chord may have 3 different names. It could be called this or this or this, and been many guys that sit up over there, their drinks and have, arguments over Greek. No, it's really this. No, it's really that. Where it could be this or it could be that. Right? Sound familiar? Yeah. But I mean, authentically, that chord could have 3 different names, and depending on what name you call it, it has everything to do with what the different passing chords are that go with it. Which if you're interested in orchestration and the things that are there beautiful to be found, that makes a big difference. See, so if you're sitting up trying to figure out what the name of that chord is and you having a fight with somebody over it or, a debate, it's actually 3 different chords depending on what you call it. You see? So that's what we have. That's an example of functional music.
Okay.
You see, it means more than one thing.
So now, how does this tie back to what the hell were they thinking when they didn't find black rock groups or look for black rock groups or,
Well, then that's a complex question. You have to ask who was doing the thinking and what were being thinking. I had you ask something about money. Maybe because it's about something different than the kind of music you play and the fuzzy stuff you do. Maybe because it serves a social purpose.
You mean the guys in charge are thinking
Maybe the whole thing serves a social purpose.
Uh-huh.
And maybe the whole thing serves a social purpose outside of itself.
Right.
Hey, and don't be confused. Whoever that they are, I don't know who they are. I'm not getting into all that. But a lot of us love what we call jazz or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, who are the millionaires in jazz? I mean, I can name you some millionaires, and of course, in professional sports, I can name you now a bunch of millionaires and cats is dealing in rap. Because there was no such thing as rap music before. And it's a lot of them. It's a lot of artists that are, and a lot of people in the industry and in the game that are making contributions. I ain't mad at none of them. They're my kids. I ain't mad at them. But I know there's some millionaires over there. So tell me, what jazz millionaires were you thinking of?
I don't know about millionaires. I mean, people like Herbie Hancock.
No, I said millionaires. I didn't stutter. Because I can tell you, I can tell you where there's a bunch of millionaires over on the Lakers in Inglewood. There's a bunch of, between there and the crypto arena. I can tell you a bunch of millionaires that go to work there. I mean, there's a whole bunch that's in entertainment. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if Well, first of all, of course, I would say Kenny G made a lot of money, but I don't really consider him a real. I mean, he's a jazz player, but
But we were talking about black rock and rollers or something black rock and roll.
okay, yeah.
So
And
that kind of makes it, in the spirit of EDI, of equity, diversity, inclusion, and it does kind of like make you want to go look in that corner. So I don't think Kenny G would fit in that category anyway. Although G is a good letter. G goes with G string. G goes with good. You can take one of the O's out and it's the upstairs. So there's nothing wrong with G. OG. West Side, so nothing wrong with G. Don't get it wrong now. Don't get it twisted.
well, okay, so actually going all the way back to your busboy story. So, what we're talking about, is that why you eventually left, or the group?
Oh, no. All that thing, I think I started with that group when I was 14 or 15, and I must have retired in about 1985. We had done all we were going to do.
Yeah.
And that I had to offer, or that was right for me. So I kind of, kept stepping from there. And I remember thinking to myself that I hope I get to learn more about music. I mean, I can tell you about all the big stars you want to do and this and that. Are they going to be having a bunch of discussions with us about these styles of music, about Marilyn and Alan Bergman, about what the chord configurations are and stuff like that? I don't know about that. I don't know if that's the most important thing. And I don't know if what was the most important thing would be the most important thing for me, you see. So I'm very thankful that since not doing that I've been able to ascend and have the pleasure of trying to get to know some of the incredible landscape that's around me that those have laid out, and that I can, take advantage of and maybe try to modulate in my own self or something like that. But, that band, I love them. They still singing the same songs as I did when I wrote for them back in 1980 and 81 and 82, and that's all they do.
I didn't even know they're still working.
Well, why would you? Because they just living off the stuff that I ghost wrote for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and nothing else. And so I'm not saying I'm famous either, but I work with some famous people. See, I work with you. I work with Patrice Quinn. I work with Robert Turner. I work with Billy Higgins. I work with something, and it's a give and take. It all in one direction, and I'm very happy. But make no mistake, for all the good things that we love, if it ain't getting no endorsement, it ain't just because it ain't popular. It ain't just because it ain't no one likes it. I would like to suggest to you something, that when we are dealing with the public, we are actually dealing with some very, very sensitive, hungry people. See, especially here in America, we think we have everything. We think we have access to, we do have a lot, but we don't have what we think we have. You see, like you have 1,000 cable channels at home, but you ain't got one of them that's producing live music TV shows on a regular basis. You're used to. You don't even have a music video channel. I know everything's on YouTube and stuff, and you can flip that on your big screen and do some things like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. The business of weekly and daily television is a lot of work, and you have to do things to make it fresh and make it excellent. Hey, it's just entertainment. So how come you got 1,000 channels, but you ain't got no live music channel, let alone a live jazz channel? But you think you have everything. You think you have everything, but you ain't had no black rock and roll groups all this time. But you think you have everything. And then you start coming up with the reasons why it is or isn't based off of what you think you know. But see, there's something going on. And we're not sure what that is. You see, that's why we talked about that functional music, because it can be going on at once. So what you think you know is absolutely correct. But see, this would be something going on the other side of which you have no idea, which is the reason that it's there in the first place. Much like a Negro spiritual. See, it was a reason that was there. And don't think that trying to eradicate slavery didn't have any kind of economic impact. So just know that the things that we are doing, just know that the things that we are doing are so excellent. If it ain't none of it been made millionaires, then maybe there's a reason.
Well, see what you're talking about too, is, I mean, there's a lot, this is a very rich thing you're talking about. Art reflects life. And if you stand back, you can read it like you're reading it. You're actually reading what's there. So this obviously is not just in music. It's life, right? I mean, God, you can tell. I mean, even the most obvious examples are, were you for Trump or Biden? You know what I mean? Or are you for the masks or against the masks? All these people you speak with, they only talk about that. And there's this, and some people do. Some people talk about that, But it's our job. I always thought, in another lifetime, we would be on a planet that would support the artists in their soaking in the general public, and then that would be a textbook for the government to aid the people, because the artist soaks in and reflects the general public, right?
You are right. See, I can't, there's not enough time in the world. There's not enough time for people to debate what I'm about to tell you. Is that on that subject, see, I already cracked the code. I already got the answer. And see, what's really funny is that when the answer starts to present itself and then becomes stronger, things are in place for a reason. We think that everybody wants us to win. But if we ain't picked to win, they got somebody else picked to win. And who the hell you think you are winning on my time when you ain't been picked to win? We're going to show you what you can do about that. See, so the things that you're talking about, I already solved them. I mean, I shouldn't leave it just kind of out there like that. Let me put it this way. I think a little differently than musicians think. I just, sometimes, sure, I think differently. Nah. Most musicians, okay, let me come back. Education is very important. I know that the educational component has been well woven into the great artists that you are, and that so many people of our people here, and they understand that. I'm doing something that's a little different. Most musicians are teaching developing musicians as such how to play music. How to play that and how to sing, how to play that bass, that piano, whatnot. I do some of that. I do a little bit of that, but that's not what I do. I teach people who are not musicians why the music is played. Not people who are musicians, not people who are musicians, how the music is played. See, that's what we're used to. Musicians thinking like musicians. No, I try to find all the people who are not the musicians and talk to them about why, from my point of view, from what I have to offer, why our music was played. And then when they get that and they tie it into their American culture and they tie it into the actual freedom that goes with it, and they start to understand when you're looking to the 18th and 19th Amendments that the amendments in the Constitution can go and they can come away. When they start to understand the things like the cabaret laws that were in New York City, not for the cabaret licenses for the performers, the cabaret laws that says any place that's serving food and drink, you have to have a dancing license that they put in place in New York City. I think it just came off the books about 2 or 3 years ago. It's really still on there. It's been on so long that it was put in there in the 1920s for segregation because, everybody was swing dancing, which was couples dancing, and they were all dancing to the same music. Whether you were dancing to Benny Goodman or Fletcher Henderson, it was the same swing, and everyone had the jungle beat. Okay, so that meant that a bunch of kids that were supposed to say segregated was going to start dancing together. So they put that law into the book. So all this time it's been illegal to be dancing in jazz music, in New York City and other cities follow suit here too, unless you have a dancing license. So unless you understand that they don't want that kind of thing, that there is a system that goes, we don't want that to happen. Okay, what happens when young people and not so young people, when they get an eye of the truth or a perspective that I might be able to offer, then everything changes. See, because we got a problem. We're serving up a whole lot of BS to young people, and we're putting it in a crust and a pie, and then we're giving it to them to eat. And then when they get it, they don't know the recipe or who went against them and all that stuff. But they're like, this stuff stinks, and you expect me to be a part of this? They know my young people are instinctually smarter than that. So to have people that do not care about them prescribing what they're supposed to do, and they just care about them as consumers, not as producers, I can see why have gone, to the pillars of economic opulence and burned them down a little bit and broke the windows. See, because I was there for the first riots when they tore up their own neighborhoods. Well, guess what? All the places that got burnt out of frustration of these, this and that were downtown. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel for the business owners and people lost their lives and their health. I don't mean it like that. But guess what? They all rebuilt. They put in new windows. They back open. The places that when the Watts riots happens, they sat there decimated for years. Okay, you have to understand that my bosses that make decisions for me, they don't know where Compton is on the map. They don't know where the major freeways are that cross it. So they couldn't care about the people that are from there, you see. So what happens is when you find young people and you actually begin to care about them, you actually say, if you want to come to me, I don't want you to go anywhere else. I don't want you to have to. If you heard that I am going to rap to you about what you know about, then I don't want you to have to go anywhere else. Come to me and I will make room for you. You know what happens? Is it blows up like you're the Beatles. You have to have armed security guard outside of your door because the young people won't leave because somebody's finally going to tell us the truth. See, and those same young people, they come to your concerts. You know it's true. For me. Okay, you were kind enough to invite me as a promoter to come do a show, and nobody thinks about it. And we sold out the place and blew up the website. And I've been doing that for almost 15 years, humbly speaking, in this town. Something like that. Real well, by the grace of God, that kind of performance is the places that we play. I mean, doing a good job because of the wonderful support. And then when the kids find out what's happening, when young people, they have to be, then when they understand why, not all this other, how do you play the blues? No. When they understand what's happening and the way to look at the function of that, and they can learn, because it bothers you to have to look at one thing more than one way at the same time. But when they get that, it's almost like they learn another language that they go, what are they trying to communicate on the other side? And that becomes more clear. They're able to understand that some of the beautiful instrumental music, that when we listen to Mingus and stuff like that, that they come from other countries, that their government won't be able to censor the lyrics because there are no lyrics. I realize that I have students where their entire countries are in war. I got Russian young people and people from the Ukraine, and we all going out having dinner together, trying to figure out why the hell this is going on. You see? So the truth of the matter is that that level of success, I already cracked the code. But see, when it gets to be that wonderful, it's like, who gave you permission? So that lets me know that the ones that are the gatekeepers that are that for that type of stuff, see, they have a social purpose or two of their own outside of themselves. And working with this kind of level of intelligence and humanity is not one of them.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why I say you and my friends and stuff, you know, you're more valuable than you think.
Yeah. I know. It's true. You know, gosh, I've been reading a lot of books. I have like 9 books by my bed, you know. Everything from Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, about how to live no matter what's happening. He was a prisoner in a war camp. But it's it's a positive book. It's how to live, how to be responsible for yourself and what you see, you know, how to move forward. Kenny Werner's second book, After Effortless Mastery, it talks about this stuff too. I mean, the thing is, I think now it's very interesting because, and it doesn't matter why, but the time period that we are in is like turning on a light bulb in a dark room. And that's just the room, because as you say, there's other rooms outside of this room that we're in, you know, that, you know, right? I think I don't see how you cannot look in this direction that you're speaking of. Even if you know you're ignorant, humbly, there's still the actual action of looking, and practicing looking is worthwhile in so many different ways and can spur you on to actions that are worthwhile, not only to yourself, but to everyone and everything.
I mean, when I look at, you know, we got the Super Bowl as of the taping of this. We got the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday, and I think Jay-Z is the executive director. And then, you know, the other directors include Dre. I know he's always a big producer on these things. Dre and Snoop and Missy and Kendrick and Compton represent, you know, and stuff like that.
My friend's son is like, I think it's the Super Bowl. He's like the first Black producer. Oh, maybe it was the Grammys. I think that was what it was. But I think it was the Super Bowl as well.
Well, with the Super Bowl that's coming up, you know, so you got to remember, part of why I love my kids, and I call them my kids, you know, my younger generation, a little younger than me now. It's because they figured out when nobody wants them, and they told them to hell with them. You see, you have to realize, us cats, we can talk about what is or isn't going on with, let's say, electronic music. Okay, you got all them rap stuff and there's no real instruments. And now there's a whole case to be said about that, but I'm not going to hop on that bandwagon. You all know what that is. But see, this is what you need to understand, is that I was there with Proposition 13 when they took all the instruments out of the schools over on our side of town, because they didn't care about them kids learning about how to play no music and to be masterful and to learn to be in the symphony, and, you know, trying to tell them to pay attention to Kathleen Battle and Leontine Price and stuff like that. They wasn't thinking about that. They was giving them the Paul Robeson treatment. I don't see how your asses got this far. Okay? Well, those kids, they went ahead and they took their technology and their drum machines and they said, we know you don't want us. We're going to do it without you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we're going to say what we want to say and do what we want to do and hook up with what we can hook up with, because y'all don't want us. Okay. So if you want, so now if you want to go, if you go into the hallowed halls of the colleges and you tell them you're going to teach them about the history of hip hop, or you're going to teach them about, how to be able to do those kind of productions, the kind of things that cats do like that nowadays, then they're excited and they maybe are thinking about having you on staff.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and that ain't working because it's tricky because their kids, they don't want me to recite the lyrics to those songs to their kids. We don't even have to talk about the N word. That's one of those words with a bunch of stuff like that. And, but how come it's okay for one and not okay for the other, but it's on million sellers? So I can't, a lot of times when I grab lyrics, I sing the lyrics that the composer wrote. That's my first choice. I'm not trying to change it to this or that. See, so it's very complex because those are folks they don't want, they were rejected, and they may have ethics, upon review that are some, but then they're excited about it and there's money there. And those are the same people that really don't know how to handle the other thing that's real that comes. So it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky. And you know what? I don't even care because God is so good to me and the music is, I got more opportunities than I can fit into a breadbasket. I got to sit here and look at you for, so far it's been 54, 55, 56 minutes. And
an hour and 56 minutes.
Oh my good. See how you make the time? You always say you make the time go like that. So that's just what you do, Cathy.
See, and you were saying, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. That's why I wanted to bring you on, because I wanted to, talk about, I wanted to kind of open up your mind and have you show me and whomever's listening some other thoughts. And actually, Roland's your best friend now. He's making all kinds of beautiful comments.
This is what I'm thinking. I want you guys to know what I'm really thinking. It goes something like this. It goes something like this. Cathy, you've got so many questions. I wish I had all the answers. But the last time I saw you, I did not realize, Cathy, you're such a good dancer. I saw you move those hips. Question mark, oh shit. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about you.
Oh God, I was trying to forget that.
No, baby. Let's make some new memories, baby. Let's make some new memories.
How can a person have such connection to rhythm and not dance?
Because you haven't spent enough time dancing and with some of the guys that'll help show you. That's a whole nother interview, and we could talk about it because that has something to do with cracking the code. See, it's like that. So,
I just want to tell you, I grew up, my dad was a musician. He did not dance. He had good time, but if you got to dance with him, this was it. And then my twin sisters, who were 4 years older than me, they danced with each other. And I had to dance with the dog. And that's why I grew up not dancing.
All I got to say to that is, bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay, bow wow yippee yo yippee yay. I don't know what dogs you was hanging with, but on my side of the tracks, the dog came up. It was a bunch of motor booties going on. You must have had a different kind of dog.
I did. Hey, do you want to play one more piece of music before we go?
Okay, what kind of thing do you want to hear? Because I got choices. Talk to me, and I'll play one more thing. What are you feeling?
I mean, Dan is showing a clip of you playing piano for Patrice Quinn, If I Were a Bell, but you can do whatever you want.
No, I'm gonna play something you can't get.
Okay.
All right, let me pull it up, and I'll pull up something. I mean, I have stuff with our concert series with Robert Turner on piano. I have more with my buddies Patrice. I got gospel stuff. I think I know what I'm gonna play for you. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
I just want to say, look what I did.
What did you
I
do?
created these little stickers, and I just got this idea. Let the heart have its way. This is like the noontime hang stickers. I love this one. You are headed in the right direction. I love that one. Art is the tie that unites the planet. All it takes is one human
That's right.
and launch rockets of desire. Ta-da! Little stickers. You can actually buy them, or I'm going to send one to you or give one to you the next time I see you, or several.
Okay, I know what I'm gonna play for you. Oh, but that's, you know, I can't see, Cathy. I see too many things when I look at you. It's like listening to a Thelonious Monk chord. It's like, what chord is that? Okay, I'm just gonna go here.
I know you're going to play something that you think that I want to sing because you have been doing so. So that's okay.
Oh no, because I could play you something you wouldn't be likely to sing at all. I don't. I see you confused. Now you're confusing me, Cat. Okay, give me one sec. I think I will play.
Okay, while you're thinking, I'm just going to tell people
Tell people.
Thursday through Sunday now, I have archives. There will be Rosanna Eckert, a great singer and composer from Texas, Sarah Oshlag and Dan from the UK, singer and bass player, Kiki Ebsen, pianist, vocalist, composer, who was the daughter of Buddy Ebsen, and then Jay Clayton is on Sunday, who's great standard and free jazz singer, who a bunch of you know.
Okay, I'll give you this song.
Okay.
This is one of the ones we like to do. This not available anywhere with my friends Patrice and Omar. I'm going to go back to that series. I have a few different series for you, but we'll stick with this one, and I hope you enjoy it.
Okay.
It talks about some of the things we were talking about. If you can hear some of the lyrics.
Okay.
It's entitled Expectation, and I hope you enjoy it.
If I could, I'd write a song for you just to blow your mind on a rainbow high where your dreams come true. Expand our space and
I wish I had a song to sing for you that tells how I feel. I'd put all of my life into every word. Oh wow, so surreal.
Do you love it when it rains? Do you crave the morning sun? Can you handle all these feelings wrapped in a simple song? Can you live inside a moment and feel the colors blend? I give it all to you then. What did you expect?
I'd paint your emotions with a tune blowing in the wind.
I'd take your picture with each note and sprinkle it with never ending.
Do you love the sunny rays? Do you crave the morning sun? Can you handle all these feelings wrapped in a simple song? Can you live inside a moment and feel the colors blend? I give it all to you then.
Step inside my eyes and see the light. Kaleidoscope turning around and round.
Step inside my eyes and see the light.
I'll be there waiting, ready to bring it.
Ready to sing it, ready to share a whole new world
Deep inside my
Do you love it when it rains? Do you crave the morning sun? Can you handle all these feelings wrapped in a simple song? Can you live inside a moment and feel the colors blend?
I give it all to you then.
I give it all to you, my friend.
What did you expect?
Yay.
And that's what we do.
Love that. I love that. That was great. Kevin ONeal, thank you for being on. See, 2 hours went by pretty fast, didn't it?
Oh, you know, when I'm spending time with you and your sophisticated self and the friends that you bring with you, I realize that life is going by too fast.
Thank you so much. Oh, Linda Smith is here too, by the way.
Hey, Linda, she's been doing such a great job booking over there at Urban Press. Thank you, Linda. Woo! Get down, girl. Go ahead, get down.
By the way, year number 396 day of this series.
Well, you know what that makes me think of?
Yes, I do.
No, let me tell you. I'm probably telling too much in public, but I will. You know, I'm not married now. I mean, not to the person I was married. I was married for 22 years. We were actually together. We were together for 5 years before that. So we were actually straight stone together for 27 years. It took me 5 years to get a divorce. I remember right when everything hit the fan and really went like that, and it's a mess. That's some grown man business. But I was playing a party out in Orange County. With anybody that knows my buddy Toby Larson, sometimes we did a lot of jazz parties out of his house, and I had a party over there and went and I knew everybody at the party. We had been there once or twice over the seasons
Yeah.
in the years past. And I guess one of the ladies there could kind of feel what was going on, even though we had a great gig. And when her husband was over there getting some tacos at the taco bar, her and her girlfriend, they said, psst, psst, come over here, Kevin. And I went down and I sat down next to him. And they said, I heard the bass player gets the second girl. And I kind of said, what do you mean? He says, yeah, the bass player, someone else, either the singer or the keyboard player or the guitar player or someone else, they get the first girl. The bass player always ends up with the second girl. She said, what do you think about that? And I told her that by now, anyone that was going to be really and truly interested in me has probably been through the entire symphony orchestra. But yet and still, I can't live off of just memories. And then I looked at her and her friend, and I says, what do you like to do? What kinds of things do you like to do? And she took a big gulp. And she says, Kevin, you're going to be just fine. You might have something on your mind, but you're going to be just fine. And you know what? She was right.
Well, my story is a lot more bass than that. My friend Alan Walker, who
Oh, we love Alan. Hey, Alan.
and Alan always says, yeah, my girlfriend, I asked my girlfriend, was I like number 1 or 5? And she said, well, let's see. Yeah, you were probably like number 530. And he's always like, yeah, it's really great. But that's why it's fun to tell you what number you are, but I've been asking you for a while, actually, too.
You have been so gracious. I really don't like to do interviews. I feel like I might say something, and you've been asking me since the very beginning of this. And so I want to thank you for doing your interview series and hosting all of us, and then being so happening to invite me to not forget about me. And you look great, and your show's great, and everything's great.
Thank you, Kevin. It was really a pleasure. And I really do want a copy of those 2 songs.
Yeah, I know what you want. I got it too.
Ooh, all right.
I know what you want. I have those things. That's why I keep a low profile, because I'm not always trying to sell them or peddle them, but I do have. I'll tell you what I don't have. What you like and what you need. No, I have that.
Great.
Yeah.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well,
Yeah, and a bunch of y'all, I got what but you probably figured that out too. Cathy, don't let the hate start coming. How come you get everything out of Kevin, but I wanted to get out of it? He said, we got some rough people in our crowd now.
all right, Kevin O'Neill. Thank you, sweetheart.
Okay. You own a part of me.
Have a beautiful day. I'm
Have you?
coming.
Wait.
I want to remind people, March, what, 8th?
Yes, Tuesday, March the 8th. That is our Confessions from the Bubble.
Kevin will be at Catalina.
All new compositions at Catalina. I mean, I didn't show you the videos. We got Thelonious Monk and all that stuff. But no, I'm your representative in this time period, and someone's got to tell our story. We can't keep having somebody else, try to represent us and say, yeah, that's how we feel. No, it's different than that. So we're gonna try to address that.
And speaking of that, Roland, now your new best friend, said you should do entire talks to big crowds.
Oh, he said, but Roland, I don't know if that would, be the right equity and diversity. I mean, what about the people that were under 5'5"? I mean, would that be would you consider that a little crowd versus a big crowd? Oh, okay. I'm making jokes.
Bye, Kev.
Wait a minute. I don't like it when you say bye. That's not my favorite thing.
Okay, I'll see you later.
That's what I'm talking about. I can't wait because you sure are great.
Mwah. Love you.
Take care. Best to everything you do. Bye. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. God bless. Thank you.